It's going to be Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua, the man who helped put it together, the head man over at Matchroom Boxing. I think he's here. Unless he's in bed sleeping from his crazy fast, he is there. You look fantastic. Wow, you dropped
Thank you.
how many stone, Eddie? How do you?
I've dropped. I'm about 3 kilos in at the moment, 4 kilos, but I've got 22 hours to go on the fast.
Why are you doing this, Eddie?
I'm learning, Ariel. I'm reading. I'm being convinced, maybe slightly deluded. I don't know. I'm just trying to improve myself. I will have to. A lot of people have been DMing me saying you're just a poor man's Dana White, and Gary Parker, who he thought I have been reading his stuff, and I just, I want to get there. I want to feel better. I want to be healthier. So if I make it till tomorrow, I'll let you know.
And so far, you're enjoying it? Like, would you do this again?
I wouldn't say I was enjoying it. No,
okay.
I mean, I'm remarkably not hungry.
Wow.
I know. I am 50 hours in with no food, and I'm not hungry.
Any kind of liquid?
Yeah, water and electrolytes. You're allowed bone broth. I've not had that. I've just had water and electrolytes, so I'm well hydrated. It's fun. I think it's a good mental challenge. It's difficult. I was on a flight for 8 hours, and they've got these really nice chocolates. These Lindor chocolates, and they were in a basket, and I kept walking past them. I was like, no one would ever know, but I would, and that's enough. Because when I set my mind to something like this, I ain't losing. So tomorrow night we feast.
And a little cheeky coffee, like an espresso, nothing like that?
No.
Wow.
No.
Kudos to you. That is impressive. Okay, so obviously I said I wasn't going to keep you long. Last time I kept you probably like 30 minutes too long, and your whole team got mad because you had a meeting or something in LA, so I apologize for that. We're not going to keep you long, especially given the state that you're in, but we're obviously here to talk about the big news, massive news. I mean, this is what everyone's talking about. Luke Littler.
You broke it.
Well, no, I was talking about Luke Littler.
Oh, Luke Littler.
Yeah. That was the big...
what about that, eh? What about that?
Unbelievable, right?
I mean, if darts couldn't get any bigger, we've gone from 1.6 million biggest TV audience to like 4.5 million. I mean, the whole nation, Ariel, was literally talking about this kid. You couldn't go down the street without someone. You watching Luke Littler tonight? It was a phenomenon. And, obviously the fairy tale ending didn't quite materialize, but hey, it can come again. Just amazing that you can get a 16-year-old kid that can go up there under that kind of pressure on a stage. And for probably a lot of your fans watching right now, they're thinking, what on earth are they talking about?
No.
The World Darts Championship at Alexandra Palace, It
was amazing.
It was the best free publicity we could have got to continue to grow this sport globally, and particularly in America. Front page CNN website, like it was everywhere, New York Times. So, yeah, it's funny now, the board, which I'm chairman of, we start talking about, there is a care of duty to protect a young person from, almost like the nastiness of success. All of a sudden he had media camped outside his house, photographers chasing him down the street. And we had a difficult decision because we have Premier League darts coming up. And there was a feeling that, is it too early for him? He's 16. Should we remove this pressure for him? Let him develop, let him, really digest the experience of the World Championship. I'm the other way. I'm like, don't be silly. He's on fire. Sling him in. And I just feel like he's that kind of kid. He was lapping it up. And what a great addition. It just shows you that young people are playing darts. The kid won $300,000 in one tournament, and plus the sponsorship and everything that's going to come with it. So big career for him.
And I love the promo. The next day you have the promo and it has all the guys. And then he says he doesn't have to wake up for school. I mean, it was brilliant. It was very combat sports like with the with the big reveal. And so speaking of combat sports, yes, on Friday evening, we break the story that it is going to be your guy AJ against my guy Francis in Riyadh. It's incredible stuff. So can I ask you, how did this get done? Because I saw an interview. I believe you were talking to your old mate Charlie, and you were walking out of the arena, Charlie Parsons, in Riyadh on December 23rd, and this is right after AJ's win, and Wilder lost, and you said, I got to go to a meeting right now as you were leaving, right? You were doing a walk and talk. Did this fight get done that night? Was it that quick?
I mean, it didn't get signed that night, but it was, look, the way His Excellency Turki El-Sheikh does business is quite remarkable, and you saw that with your own breaking news just a few days ago, following AJ's win. Obviously, look, we were due to announce the Deontay Wilder fight in the ring that night.
Wow.
Both guys had signed a contract to announce the fight. And he was very excited. Obviously, it was one of them, the most highly anticipated fights that could be made in the sport. It'd been 4 years in the making. Everyone was really excited. Obviously, Deontay Wilder lost. So from that moment, the cogs are turning in his mind. What are we going to do on March the 8th, March 9th? And it's like, as soon as the fight's finished, it's like, right, let's talk. And, we had a meeting. And I said to him, I think it's the biggest fight out there. I said it to you when I came on the show. You're talking about two giants in Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou, two men who look like they are carved out of stone, two devastating punchers. And I've always felt like it was the biggest fight out there. And, I told him that and he felt the same. But these people move very quickly. Although obviously we were working over Christmas and New Year's Eve to get the fight made, it did move very quickly. And, my favorite part of everything was literally 24 hours before you broke the news, I had a conversation with His Excellency and his associates, which was, sort of nicely, Eddie, we know you've got a big mouth. Just sort of leave it out, avoid the interviews for a little bit. And then when you tweeted, I was like, what? And then, I then messaged him and said, is this, are you all right? Like, I'm getting called now off the hook. Are you okay for me to comment on this? And it was like, yeah. So I'm not going to say too much, as I said to you over WhatsApp, because the press conference is next Monday. And all the details will be revealed there. But obviously delighted. Just a great fight. Everyone's going to play my previous clips that Francis Ngannou couldn't win an English title before he fought Tyson Fury. I feel like he's earned that shot, or certainly to continue at that level. And I fancy the fight. Like you heard me say before, I really believe AJ knocked him out. But it is a dangerous fight. I know that this guy's a big lump that can really punch. And I think he has no fear, which makes him dangerous, But I just feel like AJ's in a great place, and I expect him to pick him apart and knock him out.
My favorite thing, if I may, was all the messages that I got saying, "Who did you get this from?" And I was like, I actually said it in the video. I got it from the man himself, if you weren't listening. And then my other favorite thing was all the boxing media refusing to credit me, because I feel like they were like, fuck this guy, this MMA guy.
Oh, you upset a lot of people.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We're okay with that over here. And so can I ask, did you have to convince Anthony of this? Because obviously, famously, he once said, and you relayed this, and even Dana White famously relayed it, nah, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in titles. Did you have to get him on board as well? Or was he on board once he saw the Fury fight?
Honestly, previous to the Fury fight, it wasn't a fight that he was interested in. Obviously, we just boxed a guy in Otto Wallin that really gave Fury a really tough time. Cut him, I think he had 48 stitches. The fight should have been stopped. Otto Wallin should have won that fight. But it is what it is. And AJ went out and it was a mismatch. He demolished him. And I believe we're going to do the same here. So that performance over Tyson Fury, of course, that was really the point, the moment that made this fight credible. And I felt like he beat Tyson Fury. If he didn't, it was a round either way. So you can't really say that he's not a credible opponent. I heard Carl Froch and others say, this is just a cash grab. No, this is a dangerous fight. Like, AJ actually has a lot to lose here. Coming off the Wallin fight, he's in a wonderful position to go and fight for the IBF world title, which we hope will happen after the Francis Ngannou fight. But it's kind of like there's a lot of jeopardy in this fight. A lot of jeopardy. If you lose to Francis Ngannou is 0-1. Right? So it's not a great look losing to Francis Ngannou. So he's going to do everything he can to avoid that. So it was never anything we anticipated, Ariel, because we thought that Deontay Wilder would win. We believe we win. And we just presumed we were fighting Deontay Wilder on March the 9th. So we'd never really talked about Ngannou. The only time I talked about Ngannou was straight after the Fury fight. I thought, that is the fight to make. AJ Ngannou. What a fight. One of the biggest fights out there. But we didn't get anywhere. And I reached out to France's team, but they didn't really reply. And it took, once again, His Excellency to step in, speak to Francis Ngannou, and make the fight. And it was, I said it moved quickly, but AJ didn't really need a lot of convincing. He's on a roll at the moment. He feels good after the Wilder fight. The only thing, I think, after the Wilder loss, he kind of switched off for a week or 10 days. He went on holiday, and he had to cut his holiday short a few days ago to fly back and start camp. But he was going to do that anyway for Wilder. But I think when Wilder lost, maybe he just switched off a little bit. So he just needed to switch back on. And, they're taking this very seriously. This is not, in their mind, this is the toughest fight of their career. Francis Ngannou is a very dangerous man. And they'll be training absolutely, with every ounce in their soul to be victorious.
Speaking of the camp, will he be with Ben Davison again?
Yeah, I think that's, he's flown back to England. So, he's going to make a decision pretty soon. There's, 8 weeks Saturday, I think, till the fight. This Saturday coming. And I think he'll talk to his team and see where it's best to train. Obviously had a great camp with Ben. And, that decision was made really because of the lack of time against Otto Wallin. And I think you might see him go out to Saudi a little bit earlier for this fight. Obviously, just 3 weeks before, you've got Usyk against Fury out there. So, that's our ultimate aim, is to fight the winner of that fight, So, yeah, I think I haven't talked to him too much about the details of his camp, but I guess he'll be putting it together this week.
I know there's been talk of a rematch clause with Fury and Usyk. Do you have any knowledge as to if Fury wins, could he fight AJ next if AJ wins as well, or does the rematch clause go both ways?
I don't know enough. I mean, as I understand it, it's a 2-fight deal, which would mean a 2-way rematch.
Okay.
But, things change in boxing. Look, if Tyson Fury beats Alexander Usyk and AJ knocks out Francis Ngannou, our plan is to probably go on and fight for the IBF world title. The entire world is going to say, give me AJ against Tyson Fury. There'll never be a bigger fight in the history of the sport, in my opinion. So we'll see. But right now, everyone's just focused on, you've got AJ against Ngannou, Fury against Usyk, all within 3 weeks of each other in the kingdom.
It's madness.
Like the ability to get these fights done. And the one thing that makes me laugh, I've got to say, is people go, oh, don't you feel like you're taking boxing away from America or Britain? It's like, there's this thing, it's called the world. Boxing doesn't just have to exist in America and Britain. Of course, for me as a Brit, I want to bring as many big fights to our country as possible and with our business in America. But there's no, just because another country has come in and started showing an interest in boxing doesn't mean that it's a negative. It's a positive. Look at the fights that we're getting. Within 3 months of each other, you're getting the Day of Reckoning card. You had Fury against Ngannou. You're getting AJ against Ngannou, Fury against Usyk, the undisputed heavyweight world championship. And look at the cards. Again, wait till you see the cards that are being put together for it. It's mind-blowing. And it's very exciting to be a part of, especially for a fight fan. It's like, it's like Championship Manager. I don't know if you guys have that over there, where you're literally putting together all these dream scenarios in your sport. And it's happening like that. So we're embracing it. And hopefully it continues.
You mentioned that, and I understand where you're coming from. But also, I did want to ask you about this that I said earlier in the day. I feel like there's a lot more excitement and positivity around this announcement, this fight, than when Francis was announced to fight Tyson, in large part because we saw what Francis did. But I don't see a lot of the old curmudgeonly boxing types, the fans on Twitter, crapping on this one. Are you sensing that as well? And I think that's quite refreshing.
Listen, I joke with His Excellency, when I first met him, I don't think I was flavour of the month because I spoke honestly about what I thought about Fury and Ngannou. I thought it was a mismatch. I did. and I still don't think it was a great performance from Tyson Fury, but I had to eat my words because Francis, again, whether he won, whether he lost by a round, he dropped Tyson Fury and he won or nearly won the fight, right? The lineal world heavyweight champion. So I still believe that AJ will show you the levels of boxing in this fight. But listen, I've been wrong before. I'm an AJ fanboy, and he is the reason that people aren't poo-pooing this fight is because they realise it's a dangerous fight now. They realise AJ should win. But this guy is for real. And what I said earlier is key. He has no fear. Normally a guy without a boxing background should be going in fighting Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, but half petrified, really, of really not knowing what to do. I saw an Instagram post earlier of him with Guido Cavallero, where he's a heavyweight. He's back sparring already. I'll be honest with you, it made me, I won't say, but, a change of underwear. It was like, Jesus, he's dangerous. He's dangerous because he just doesn't really know. He hasn't been there. Like, he's been there now, so he's going to be more dangerous. Like, he went into the Fury fight, surely without the belief, really, of knowing you could mix it at the elite level of the division. He's done it against the supposed best. So he's going to go into the Anthony Joshua fight going, hang on, I've just beaten the lineal heavyweight champion, in my opinion. So I should be the favourite against Anthony Joshua. So, and mentally, this guy's serious. He's a serious guy. So I give him all the respect from his performance with Tyson Fury. Proved me and a lot of people wrong. But, I believe, you're going to see a real, I always say, it's a fight that you have to watch through your fingers because both guys have extreme power, the kind of power that can switch your lights off like that. And it's going to be electric in Riyadh.
August of 2022 in Saudi Arabia, you're sitting at the dais with a very emotional Anthony Joshua after he loses to Usyk again. Honestly, in your heart of hearts, and it was hard to watch him like that, and I thought he was unfairly criticized in the aftermath because it was clearly a guy going through a lot, and maybe his dreams were shattered, and I saw a lot of people, especially in Britain, kind of rip on him and kick him while he was down. In your heart, did you ever think that he could get back to the point where he finishes a year, the following year, 3-0 with a win like that, on the precipice of getting another title shot? Like, did you think he could do this, or are you now actually surprised?
I've always been, I said earlier, I'm like his biggest fan, honestly. Like, you couldn't meet a nicer bloke. You couldn't meet someone that has more time for people. Like, bear in mind his position and his achievements. And I know how hard he works. And like, in a change room after that fight, I thought the performance in Usyk 2 was good. Like, you lost to the pound for pound number one, or arguably the pound for pound number one. And you lost 115, 113, or that kind of score. And you know what? Going into the 10th round, I thought you were going to stop him. You nearly had him out of there in the 9th. And 10, 11, 12, Usyk was sensational. Don't beat yourself up. It's a bad style for you. Styles make fights. And that defeat, those two defeats, really set him back mentally, And people talk about him changing as a fighter. Yeah, of course. He's got older. He's got smarter. He's realised that if he just goes in gung-ho, if he goes in gung-ho against Francis Ngannou and walks onto a shot while he's trading, get knocked out. But he's rediscovered his confidence, the fire in his belly, the nastiness. What you saw against Wiley, it was the first time that I see him spiteful for years. He hit him with a straight right hand to the body in the first round. It's like someone had just broken a door down. It was like snap. I was like, oh my God. And he just looked like a different fighter. So I think it's just funny, like people's opinions, the criticism. 1 minute you're out, you got idiots like Thomas Hauser writing articles saying, AJ really needs to retire because, I think that he might have some mental damage. I'm thinking, you've never even spoken to the guy. What are you talking about? And then all of a sudden he comes back like with a performance that shows maybe he's actually in the prime of his career, no one really says anything, really. So it's like criticism's out there all the time, but he is in a great place. He's really confident. And I said before the Wilding fight, he's going to beat Wilding, he's going to beat Wilder, and he's going to beat Fury. The only thing that's going to change is Ngannou replaces Deontay Wilder. Honestly, I believe he can beat all those guys. And even with, Ben Davison, they like the Usyk fight now. He really believes, Ben Davison, that AJ beats Usyk. I know that's a tough ask. He's lost twice. But if it has to be him, he's got to go through these guys. I truly believe AJ will become undisputed heavyweight world champion. And only with that last performance do people actually start thinking, like, off the back of AJ Willing and the back of Fury and Ngannou, you telling me you don't fancy AJ against Tyson Fury? I mean, listen. I love Usyk, but part of me really wants Tyson to win that fight so we can hopefully move. But look, he's got to get past Ngannou, and just like Otto Willing, no taking your eye off the ball.
I have to say, I kind of regret saying like my guy Francis, if only because
it's all right.
No, because AJ is actually one of my favorite fighters of the last decade. I always talk about on the show his sit down with Louis Theroux is one of the best like mini docs on a fighter that I've seen in quite some time. The side that we got to see of him, I'm such a fan of his, and I really feel like he is treated unfairly in the UK, and I hated the way he was treated after the Usyk fight. I did an interview. I was in London at the time, and I really said I felt bad for him. And if I could just ask for one thing, I hope he stays with Ben. It seems like he's done such great things with him. I don't like the fit of him in Dallas. I want to see that version of AJ. And I think because we saw that version on December 23rd, it makes this fight so much more interesting. Like, that's the guy. That's the guy we all fell in love with post-Olympics and even in the Olympics. And I just think it's the perfect match. He doesn't have to go to Texas. He doesn't have to bring Derek to him. It's just a great... So if you could tell him Ariel said so to stay with Ben.
I will do, yeah. I'm sure that'll be a big part of the decision. Listen, and I love Francis as well. He probably was a bit upset with some of the things I said before the fight. But
we played him the clip, by the way. When he was on earlier, we played him the clip with you. Yeah, so we're just trying to stir it up.
Great.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing him again. Yeah, thanks. But I always talk about that meeting I had with him in Vegas. Like, we had lunch for 2 hours, and I found him one of the most fascinating, inspirational people. But AJ has a huge amount of respect for him and his story. He's an incredible athlete. He's an incredible survivor. He's an incredible fighter. But one thing he's a very dangerous man. We saw that, and I can't wait. Like I said, the one thing that Fury and Ngannou didn't have was when those two giants stand next to each other, you just go, Jesus, like, what? Look at the size and the shape of these two. Like, and when they've got those little gloves on, this is a fight full of jeopardy. And, can't wait. I can't wait to get back out there. I got Callum Smith against Beterbiev this week. And then we've got the press conference. I fly back, land on Monday, straight to the press conference. And can't wait to see those guys come face to face.
You going to Quebec City?
Yeah.
I love it. What a town. Have you ever been?
Yeah, I was there for Tony Bellew against Adonis Stevenson.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's actually the same hotel as well. I saw it today, and I posted a picture. 13 years since I signed Callum Smith. He was one of my first fighters that I ever signed from the debut, and it was like about a time where we were getting a lot of criticism, saying, "Oh yeah, they've got Carl Froch and they've got Hellbrook and Darren Barker, but they've never taken anyone from pro." I thought, blimey, we've only just started. Give us a chance. And he was one of the first guys. He actually didn't get selected for the Olympics. He should have got selected for the Olympics, but he turned pro and he went and he became unified champion at 168 pounds, won the World Boxing Super Series. And then obviously he's moved up. And I've just truly, I know I always fanboy all our guys, but I really, really see him winning this Saturday.
Wow.
I see him knocking Artur Beterbiev out, who is a tremendous fighter, who's one of the scariest men on the planet. But I just see that catching counter left hook, and I really believe Callum will become a 2-division world champion on Saturday.
And then he fights Dimitri Bivol? Is that the plan?
Yeah, I mean, look, again, the plan for Saudi is Bivol Beterbiev. But as I've said to His Excellency, we will be trying to disrupt those plans, and we'll see you in April or whenever for Callum Smith against Bivol for Undisputed. But we shall see.
By the way, I know you're not new to this, but is it weird for you to go to a Top Rank show? Like, this is not your show, right? It's your guy, but it's not your show. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I lost the purse bid by about $5,000. It was a really freaky one. Like, it was horrible. Do you know what? There's honestly one of the greatest feelings in the world is the away day, right? And even though we were involved with the Saudi show, obviously with Queensbury and stuff like that, it still felt that it was almost like an away day. Like, we turned up, we got our hotels, we did the press conference, we were like this as a team, and like, this is the same thing. So you're in the away corner, you're in the bad dressing room, you're in the worst of the hotels, and Top Rank will always look after us. They're great guys, but you're the underdog, and you're the guy that's not supposed to win. And when you get those wins, I've done it with when Kell Brook beat Sean Porter, when Darren Barker beat Daniel Gill, when Maurice Hooker won the world title, on away soil at a Top Rank show as well. Like, there's something special about it. And when Callum Smith knocks him out on Saturday, I'm going to jump over that top rope, and we are going to celebrate in the air with Union Jack flags. And it is going to be, that is for me, one of the greatest parts. If you've got your team, your football team, your hockey team, and you're away, and you're just a small group of people traveling to the away day, those victories on the road, there is nothing like it. And that's why I'm going. I'm going because I've been with him for 13 years, but I'm going because I can see him winning, and I want to be part of it. With all the Scousers over there, however many there'll be, 40, 50, I don't know. We're going to have a great time, and I truly believe he wins the fight.
I love it. I hope you bring some long johns as well. It's pretty chilly up there.
-20 apparently.
Yes. Two quick ones, and then I'll let you go. Thank you again. I have to ask you every time about Taylor Cameron 3. Is there any update on where that stands, and is Croak still a possibility?
Yeah, we've been in conversations with Croak. I think that they're moving in the right direction. I think that's a good thing to say without getting too excited. We're going to speak to Chantel Cameron's team. Obviously, Amanda Serrano fights March 2nd on the Zone. Chantel Cameron, I think, is the fight that Katie would like. I think it's the fight the fans would like. 1-1, two tremendous fights. So we'll see if we can get it made. I think it's the right fight for both. But, still got a deal to be done. But we'll be doing everything we can to see if we can make Taylor Cameron at Croke Park.
And I saw the picture of, or a picture of Lee Wood at the City Ground, and there was like a thinking emoji. Is there any chance that happens next?
Yeah, May the 18th is the proposed date. I mean, again, I've made it pretty clear. I want Wood against Warrington at the City Ground. We're in talks with the club. They have a big concert on the week after. So we're just trying to get the logistics right. But it's not to put too much pressure on Nottingham Forest, it's in the hands of the club. We've got a fight ready to go, I believe, May the 18th with Wood Warrington. If we can get the logistics done, and the deal done with the City Ground, we would love to make it happen. Wow. And you have to come to that one,
Oh,
Aaron.
my gosh. You know yourself, Eddie. I'm pretty much the mayor of Nottingham at this point. I mean, they love me.
Basically, yeah. And Riyadh.
Riyadh, Nottingham, all the places. And last one, we'll go back to October 30th. You were on this show. You said, and I quote, AJ Francis, easy money. Do you still stand by that?
Yes, I do.
You had to think there for a second. You weren't as aggressive.
No, because I respect. I don't want to disrespect Francis because of it, particularly because of his performance against. Like, I have no problem holding my hands up when something like that happens. I thought he wouldn't win a round against Tyson Fury. He impressed me in so many different ways: footwork, mindset, power, speed. And I just don't believe there's many or any MMA guys that can transition to boxing. Like, that was an incredible. You imagine if he would have actually got the decision and become lineal world heavyweight champion that night. Like,
well, technically the belts weren't on the line, but
if you beat the man,
sure,
lineal. You talk about the lineal. There is no lineal belt. Right, you beat the man, you're the lineal champ. I'm not a lineal. I'm not sure about this whole lineal thing, but if you can use it to your advantage, let's use it.
Sure.
And I think that performance is really underplayed. I think in any other sport, where someone has never participated at that sport at a professional level, and just gone up. And but you're talking about like, I don't know, like a guy who's done a bit of long jump, just or high jump, and just gone, I'll tell you what, I'll take on Usain Bolt head to head and like nearly beat him. And like it's actually a freak performance. Talk about Luke Littler and stuff like this. That was up there, and he could have won. Like if he wins, it goes down as the greatest win in the history of boxing. That's how close he was, and that's the threat that he brings to this fight. If he beats Anthony Joshua, like you talk about a guy who's 0-1. Francis Ngannou on March, in middle March, could be 0-2, but could have had great fights with Tyson Fury and Anthony. It's amazing what he's doing. You really have to take your hat off to him that he's fighting, in my opinion. I mean, Usyk, certainly 2 of the top 3 heavyweights in his first 2 professional fights.
It's incredible. What a story. I love that he's shaking everything up. I said it on Twitter, but if people love these conversations, you did a great podcast with the great legendary Steve Bunce on BBC. I love that conversation about the history of Matchroom. Really enjoyed it. If I may, maybe a little more Frank Smith next time. It felt like he was getting boxed out by both of you. I mean, wanted to hear more of his story.
That is something that that is something. I mean, I do talk much too much, but Frank will have his time.
Yeah,
I won't be around forever.
Thank you for doing this, Eddie, especially in your state. Good luck the next, 20 or so hours? What do we have?
Yeah, 20 hours. I've got a timer on my phone, so I'm going to... it's 7:30 UK tomorrow.
What's the meal?
I can't wait.
What's the meal?
I don't know. Like, at the moment, I just fancy, like, I know it's a bit boring, but like a peanut butter protein shake just to get me going. And then, they reckon you should just take it easy, but not going to happen. I can't wait. And then off to Quebec.
Enjoy, and we'll see you next Monday. Not me personally, but that's the press conference, right? January 15th?
Yes.
In London to officially announce everything. Thank you so much, and congrats on getting it done.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
There he is, Eddie Hearn, head man over at Matchroom. It's a busy time for them, and I love the fact that he is actually going to Quebec City this weekend for that big fight. You can watch it on ESPN Plus, and you can also watch it on Sky Sports over in the UK. What a time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You can get many more of these videos on the channel, so please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.